Greetings, sir and sirettes, and welcome back to Stonehearth with me, Lathrix, and of course, willkommen in Steindorf. In today's episode, we are going to continue with our spree of making the little village in the mountain a little bit prettier, and we are finally going to decide on some of the less used areas. What are we going to use them for, and how are we going to, well, make it happen? Also, I do really want to start work on the keep today. Even if we don't finish it, I just want to do something to this mountain, because as soon as we get started, we can just continue and everything will look better and everyone will be happier. At least that's the theory, and the theory is pretty sound. So, let's get mining out some area then. So, the idea of the keep is it's just going to be a heavily fortified building which is going to be dug into the mountain here, ignoring this lovely tombstone. After looking at this little rocky outcropping for a while, I think simply deleting it would be the best option. So removing this section here completely, and then sculpting it from there. The one thing I do have to be somewhat concerned about, however, is this passage here, which of course is the only way currently to get to the top of the tower. Not that we're really using that much, as we discussed in the previous episode, really manning these towers isn't as good as you might imagine, since it doesn't give the archers a range bonus, enemy archers are longer range than our archers, making them completely countered, and all sorts of issues like that. But of course, turrets are still pretty handy. So, we will still need it just for the engineers, less so for the archers. And how am I going to make it stay there then? Since I got better at removing a lot of the lag and identifying the problems which are causing a lot of the stalls in the game, I think before Alpha 18 comes out on the stable branch on Steam, we should get as close as possible to 50 citizens. So for those who don't know, 50 citizens is the absolute maximum the game will allow you to have. And honestly, I do feel like that's a pretty good number as the ultimate maximum, since the game doesn't really handle the pathing too well, at least at this point, but what you're gonna do when you're playing an alpha game. Also, I've decided I'm going to change over these two little shepherd fields into sheep fields, because I'm getting really bored of having to manually harvest this all of the time. So our lovely shepherds will go ahead and shear the sheep and give us a constant supply of fibre in the form of wool. And by the looks of things, my lovely halflings have managed to bug out this, so go ahead, build a ladder, and then cut that down. And then, we need to decide how we're going to do this. And I still have no idea. I really want a new archer, but all of our workers are just not good soldiers at all. The closest I can really get is 4 body and 4 spirit, but with only 2 mind. He would take forever to get powerful enough and, well, learn the job enough to actually take up the archer mantle. Now, you have a better mind, so do many of you, but lower spirit and body stats. Maybe something like you, 4 body, 4 spirit, 3 mind. You won't be the best soldier ever, but you should learn fast enough, and soon enough you will be our newest archer. Really, did that just happen again? See, this is my fault. This is my fault for not understanding how derpy the halflings occasionally will be. So they build the ladder up here, and as soon as they do that, they destroy the block it's attached to, thus making the ladder completely pointless. Because that was the most effective way of doing things. What you should do instead is make it so you dig out everything but that block. There we are. And then do that block last. And look, we have a sheep. Yay! Would you mind digging it now? I mean, you're not really doing anything. It'd be helpful. Oh, I see lines! I so thought he was stuck then. Little sheep? What are you doing? Well, this is a bit annoying. Is it the case that sheep actually have to be gated in, unlike the chickens? Because as you can see, all of these chickens won't really stray away from their area, but we have this one random sheep just wandering around inside the fortress. Inside the mountain, inside the halls. What are you doing? Ah, he wanted to cuddle with the shepherd. Now it's kind of sad and adorable. Yes, my mining slaves, work, work for Steindorf. It's always weird when you see enemies fight amongst each other. Also, what I've noticed is if one enemy type starts fighting the other enemy type, they end up sort of bugging out afterwards and just becoming almost non-hostile. They will only resume their normal attack activities if you get close enough, and then they will once again try to run to the centre of your village. Just a weird note, I guess the logic would be that their bloodthirst has finally been sated by killing the evil rock creature, which is, you know, full of blood. Well, that was quick. We already have a level 3 footman, so you will become an archer. And I don't mind even if you run away right now. Yeah, you'd think he would want to stick around the battle before upgrading, but sure, go away. I mean, I don't really care about your footman levels anymore, so you may as well. Maybe I should keep some footmen around just as footmen, because their damage is pretty good at max level. It's just archers seem so much more versatile. And they can burn things. Until we eventually get mages, if we ever get mages in Stonehearth, which would be absolutely awesome, by the way. Hint, hint, developers. That's the only thing which can burn things. There he is. Our little apprentice hunter. Archer. Already level 1. Yeah, the level of the enemies is very high at the moment. Now at least one of you is using the slowing arrows, right? Good. Gee, can you tell the new one from the old ones? You see, this is why I need more archers. Right here, just this. These guys are so annoying. Bask in the glory of 4 archers. Now, one thing I would like to mention very quickly is I have no idea why our new archer has a green hood, whereas all the rest have a blue hood. Originally, I thought perhaps it was based on level, but now that we're level 3 and I've looked at our equipment, everyone's wearing the same thing, so I don't really know why this guy has elected to have his own colour scheme. Perhaps it is somewhat randomised and I've just got the same all the last few times. I don't really know. But regardless of that, I am now finally building the keep itself. All of this is road, and I'm going to build a road all the way inside of there to make it a little bit faster for engineers to get to work on our turrets. In addition to this, I am going to do something a little bit odd. I am going to use console commands once again, the cursed cheaty button of the Stonehearth universe. Now, the reason is, at the moment in Alpha 17, you can't remove buildings by any legitimate means. This is definitely something in the game, it just is removed for Alpha 17 because of some problems with compatibility, and it's coming back in Alpha 18, so because of that, I can't remove buildings. I really should be able to, and I really want to remove all of this. I do not like how it looks, so I'm going to be removing this using console commands as soon as I've done a little bit more work here, because what I would like is if the keep acted as a way to get to the top, rather than running all the way around here for these ladders, or using this really not very safe section here. Just to make things neater, honestly. Of course, as soon as we have a section which is vulnerable whilst it's being built, an invasion force attacks. So now we're having this really weird battle in the middle of the tunnel. Not really the safest for our citizens, I admit, but still. At least it's something exciting. Now, Archer, could you please focus on that healer? That'd be fantastic. Also, yes, I am leveling yet another footman. This one is going to stay as a footman, however. Oh, there he is. The annoying boss. The one with almost infinite health. I can't believe it went unnoticed for so long, but we haven't had a trapper in a very long time. Now that's not really a major issue, to be perfectly honest. We don't really need fur or leather for most things, and we have a massive stockpile if we ever do need to use it. But now, we need to start increasing the value of our village very rapidly, because with every new halfling, the increase of wealth increases quite dramatically. Right now, I believe I have to raise around about 5,000 wealth just for the next villager, which takes a very long time. So, since we have a lot of sheep now, and we have a new pasture for even more sheep, I thought, why not try to monetize our bundles of fibre, aka the wool, and make things like plushy toy rabbits, and the decorative throw rugs, and all stuff like that. And then I ran into a problem. We need fur pelts, and actually quite a few things need fur more than I thought. So right now we're making a new trapper, and we're going to put the trapping area just outside the walls. Not the safest, so we will have to be a bit careful, but I think it will be fine. The keep is starting to take shape. Now the top section is nowhere near complete. This needs to be dug far, far back. We need to add all sorts of stuff to make it defensive and make it look better. But on the inside, the basic shape is taking form. We have the ladders here, which once again will be made to look a little bit better later. We have all of the roads down, masquerading as the floor, and we have this amazing ironclad door, which I may be using over here as well in a very, very short time, in addition to perhaps over here, just to make sure no enemies will ever come down and then get straight into the village. Because these clay tunnel doors, not exactly the safest of things, but at least now we're getting the general gist of things, and now I have all of this space to play with if I ever want to make pretty much anything. I could even make a tunnel from here, going over to here, which would then allow us to defend this little corner here, perhaps for some more pasture space, because I am running out of both farming space and pasture space, and since I'm getting more and more people, we're going to need more and more food. Although the keep is still very much underway, and lots of ideas are still needed to make sure it looks decent in the end, I've had what I hope is a really good idea, an idea which I'm quite excited to get to work on. What if we built small penned villages away from the centre of Steindorf? Keep Steindorf as the centre of our empire, however, via a collection of tunnel systems, make some very heavily fortified villages on the corners of the mountain. This way they won't be naturally attacked, there'll be no normal doorway in, and enemies will still go their normal path going towards the centre, but this will enable us to build normal buildings, have loads more pasture space in addition to farm space, and ultimately give us something to do once we're kind of bored building the keep. I think this is a pretty good idea. Also, the villages might be named as well, so each of them are individual from Steindorf. Aww, we have a little lamb. Okay, that is absolutely adorable, and a little bit more detailed than the chicks we were getting last time. That is ridiculously cute. I am completely okay with that. So I've decided it's time to use the console commands again. So right now, I feel like using the destroy command is perfectly acceptable. The main rationale is that normally you can destroy buildings, it's just something that's not in the game right now, but mostly you're not compensated for this destruction. Normally in Alpha 18 and the older alphas, when you were to destroy a building, you would be compensated a small amount of the original resources it took to build that building. And right now, I'm not happy with these walls, I'm not happy with the staircase, and I'm not happy with all of this up here. So I'm going to remove it to hopefully make Steindorf look a little bit less clustered. Once this village is operational, we can then move away all these pastures, we can make all of this farmland so it's all nice and neat, and hopefully then we can make it look so much better. So for those wondering how you use the console commands, hold down Control and press C once you've selected your target, like so, and then simply destroy. And there it goes, the building is gone, you get no resources for it. Of course, this is a lot faster than the lovely halflings doing your job for you, but again, you're not compensated for it. So what I think I'm going to do is put down a really simple fence. which will look a lot neater. We now have 32 villagers, with this lovely fellow joining our ranks with a fairly good mine stat, and the tunnel and little staircase is now finished connecting this walled off area to the main village of Steindorf. I've also started work finally gutting some of these little outcroppings away to make things look even neater, and I'm about to work on making some walls to fortify the corners of this, just to make it look a bit more purposeful rather than just having a flat piece of green stretching across nothingness. That should be pretty helpful. Also, we do have feed, right? Yes, we do. Fantastic. I might get a second shepherd since I am going to be putting down some more pastures soon, but since I'm not quite sure how I'm going to continue the keep, I think first of all, I'm going to build a building, because I have not built a building yet properly in this particular game mode. So what do we have? We have all the clay houses as standard. I mean, that one looks pretty nice, but honestly, I don't really care too much about any of those, so we're going to build our own instead. And it's going to be quite big. So the first building we're going to build is going to be a bit of a mansion house, and it's going to take up this entire corner. So, foundations, let's go with stone, because it's easy. Let's go with a very light stone, and let's have it like this. So, one away from the walls to make building a little bit easier. There we are, make it 10 wide again. Something like this, perhaps stretching it out a little bit more, taking up all of that area. I think that's okay, and then we can have a couple of small buildings here, and then the rest can be used for pastures and farms and all sorts of stuff like that. Not the most ambitious build in the world, but I think it will work. So it's mostly a wooden house, it has a stone ceiling, and we can add things like beds and chairs and stuff like that once the outside is finished. So finish editing and build, yes. I could also add curtains, I just thought of, so we could make this look a lot prettier. Also, quite weirdly, those banners are now actually inside the ceiling. Well, it's not too bad if they're inside the roof, but, okay, we'll see if that works. And we've already ran into a problem. Hopefully once this building is here, it will provide some protection from this, but by the looks of things, we may need to make a tiny wall around here, and yes, more and more walls. Either way though, I need to get my soldiers over here very quickly. Move that fight over there. Should be okay doing that. Good, and now start killing them. Okay, good. The enemy archers are now engaged with our soldiers rather than our civilians. Fear the wrath of slowing arrows and fire arrows, the ultimate combination. Okay, everything is turning out pretty well, and our healer even managed to heal our civilians. Well done. And there's the boss. Being chased around trees. Well, you're annoying, but not that scary anymore. As our little mansion here is about halfway finished, I think it's worth noting this is not a village. I know, big surprise, big shocker, but there's not going to be enough here to really be village-worthy, so instead, this is going to all belong to this one house, and instead we're going to add all sorts of farming stuff and anything we can find fancy to this bit of territory. We're also going to try and figure out a way to make this wall look a little bit more expensive, as if some of the more affluent members of our little society live here in this one massive mansion. Then over here we're going to build a more true village. We're already digging out this mine shaft here so it can once again connect to Steindorf, and then over here we can add some walls going from there all the way to the end, and once again there all the way to the end, or perhaps rounding it off a bit. I'm a little bit nervous about completely cutting it off, but considering I've never seen an enemy come from this direction, I think it's perfectly reasonable to completely cut this off and have a whole village of regular buildings in this section. Even if it might not be used that much, it will definitely increase the value of our little village. As we can see here, this building section is part of the value, and even now it's going up as we build our house. So yeah, just a little bit overly ambitious, but this is for the future. The idea is this section over here right now could act as a bit of a gatehouse, being able to finally get to the lower quarters in a safer manner, but also we could eventually build some kind of castle on top of it, or some kind of defensive structure, which I think would look pretty cool, so definitely something for the future, but right now I believe we might be under attack from somewhere, or perhaps we've just finished off the attack, and the mansion is now pretty much complete. All that remains is to remove some of these ladders, and we are done. And honestly, I think it came out pretty well. So close to the worth needed for our 33rd villager, but for now, I think it's about time I wrap this up. This took a surprisingly long amount of time because building in this game is fairly slow, but I think now we have a pretty good plan about what we're doing. I'm still not certain how I'm going to do this top section, if I'm going to massively fortify it, or just have it as a simple wooden structure as a bit of a defense. I will cross that bridge when I come to it, but for now, I think I'm going to activate this. This is a lot of building. Good luck to my little halflings. And with that, actually what I should do very, very quickly is finally mine all the way out of there and then add a couple of doors very quickly so that that's safe. A couple of clay doors, that'll do. Enemies don't tend to like going to doors, it seems, so that is completely reasonable. So whilst my halflings get to work placing the doors, mining out some more areas, and making a huge new section of walling which will eventually become a whole new village, thank you so much for watching. If you have enjoyed the video, then of course, likes, favourites, shares, comments, all that good stuff helps out me, helps out the channel, and most importantly, shows that Stonehearth is a series you wish to see continued in the future. In the next episode, we have a lot to do. Thank you again for watching, and goodbye.